Hey guys, Nicole here with Obscure Reptiles and Caging, and today we're going to be explaining our ball python breeding chart. So let's get started. Hey guys, so we've done a video similar to this about 2 seasons ago, and I wanted to show you guys. I get a lot of questions all the time, how I keep track of things. I've done videos on how to make QR codes. We have got a couple of different, there's apps you can use, there's websites you can use. This is what I've been doing the longest. This is what I enjoy doing because I'm a visual person, I can see it. I do like the apps, but then you have to have your phone on you the entire time. If you have QR codes, same thing, you've got to be taking photos of all the tags, you have to enter all the information. For me, I just don't have that kind of time, but I do always have a pen on me, so this is what I like to do. So I will show you guys an example who we got there. So a couple of our ball pythons this season had eggs, or sorry, this last season had eggs. So 2025, some of my snakes had eggs. The reason why is because we bred them in 2024. Like for example, it shows 2024 they were off, which meant they stopped eating, something happened. They were bred a couple of times, but never had eggs in 2024. Then this year, 2025 comes around and they have 5 eggs. Ball pythons can retain and hold on after a breeding, and they can decide to release when they're in a good body condition and they've decided that everything is good to go. And that happened on a couple of our snakes. Our blade clown, she had her ovulation in July. She had her eggs in August. We have Mauve, which is our purple passion. She was bred one time last year, and she ended up giving us 10 eggs this year. So these females are all not going to be included for the 2026 breeding because they had eggs. She was early in 2025, so maybe depending on how big she gets back up to. But these two who mid to end of 2025 had eggs, we're not going to be breeding for 2026. So these couple are not going to count, but we've got all of our females on this chart that are breeding size, and then all the ones that are almost breeding size have this much smaller section right here. So we'll start up here. We've got Mama Rita, which is our big albino pied female, which is one of our first ever breeders. So we'll use her as the example. I like to keep their name and what morph they are, what year that specific snake was born, and I like to keep track of every season we've had eggs with that snake. So example, 2019 she had 6 eggs, 2020 she had 5, 2021 11, 2022 9, 2023 11, and 2024 she was off. 2025 again, we didn't breed unless they ended up having eggs, so this is technically 2 years off for her to be able to now breed. So these are the breeding options for this snake. We've got Dexter and Reese. These are males. These are boys we were going to pair her with because we're going to start the first weekend in November. I've already got 11-8 written down. This way we can remember who's breeding and who's going to where. It's a couple days early, but we're probably going to start pairing them just so I can show you guys in one of these videos. But I like to put down their weight and when I weigh the snake. Once we actually start breeding, we weigh them every month, every 2 months. That way we can keep an eye, make sure that the females are in good breeding size. They say the minimum for a female is 1,500 grams. For example, in August, she was 3,251, so she's definitely big enough. And she had the last 2 seasons off. Again, some of these are going to be first times ever being bred here. We've got, let's see, Mojave Clown. She was from 2020, so she's about to be, she's like 5, almost 6 years old, and we're going to weigh her, and as long as her weigh-in's good, we got a male for her right there. But the reason why I like this the best is as soon as I go and let's say I breed Hazel, she could be bred with TJ or Teo. Supposed to be bred with Teo. Let's say I see her breed. What I'm going to do is I see a lock. I'm going to put a star right next to the date in that snake, that male. Now I know there was a confirmed lock for that female. Then 1 month from then, so instead of 11-8, we'll go with 12-8 or 12-10 or whatever ends up being a weekend about a month away. We'll try her with TJ. And then if we don't see a lock, I put an X next to it. So this way we know every single female, who they breed, when they breed, and if there is a confirmed lock. These are a chart from a previous season, and it shows a little bit better. It's a little chaotic, sorry, with the stickers and the colors, but let's go with the GHR Mojave female right here. Her name's Harley. That was her weight at the time when we started breeding, and these were the breedings. We tried to breed with Atlas. There was no confirmed lock, so we bred it with the GHR Mojave Banana, which is actually the one named TJ. We did get a lock, so we put a star. Then we bred the next month, the month after that, the month after that, and then we finally saw a good lock with Atlas. She did end up getting pregnant by Atlas, not TJ, if I recall the eggs that she had 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But normally I put a little X next to it or a star, helps me remember. Once I see an ovulation or they have eggs, we put a line, and that tells you. Sometimes I will see an ovulation, and we'll put a mark like we did. This one we saw the ovulation, put the exact date of the ovulation, then we have when she has her prelay shed, how many eggs. Sometimes I don't see the ovulation, but I can see her going to her warm side after being on the cold, having a shed, and then I'll put tags on their actual enclosure, so I make sure to keep an eye on the date, and then I always write down, so at 9/1/25, that's when she had her eggs. This is just a real easy way to keep track of snakes, of who you're breeding. This one was when we ended up stopped breeding. We did a couple of locks, and then we ended up just stopping. That was last season. But we always keep all these charts so we can go back, because for example, Beatrix, we're going to breed her possibly 2026 with Scout. She had eggs in May, but like this chart shows, she had 5 eggs for me in May, but she didn't breed in 2024, which meant, again, that something changed. She stopped eating. We didn't want to use that male anymore. She was going off food too much. He was going off food, and there was in a different male to swap, whatever the case was. So she didn't breed except at the beginning of 2024. But the beginning of 2025, again, with no extra breedings, she ended up giving us eggs. So by keeping this chart, we could go back to whichever chart was 2024. It's not this one. Let's see. This is 2023, so one of the charts over there is 2024, but that'll actually break down when she bred with who, so it made it a lot easier to figure out whose the babies were. Hopefully this shows you guys a little bit of a breakdown, make it a little bit easier, just a really simple way to chart your snakes. You can use stickers, you can color code it, you can use apps. Again, you can write on the actual bins themselves. This is just something I've been doing for a while, and it just works best for me. If you guys have any questions, you can put them in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We do new videos every couple of weeks. So I'll see you guys in the next video.